how to end the political divide in both America and the UK that we have seen getting worse in the last 5 years. So in order to figure out how to solve a problem, you at first need to figure out how the problem was first caused or created. And it's a matter of undoing the things you did wrong in order to find a solution to the problem. This is what I call the origin problem solution. So ultimately, the thing that actually causes the political divide in politics is bad faith. So this video is going to be also about a call for good faith in politics and bringing progressives and conservatives together. And, we need to start creating, and I'm going straight into the solutions. We need to get to a place in society where we are creating progressive conservatism or conservative progressivism, where we need both the left and the right, both conservatives and lefty progressives to get together to solve global problems, whether it's, parenting problems, whether it's the mental health crisis. We all need to get together in order to put our heads together in order to get to the cause and then the solutions behind these problems. And we do need progressive conservatism. Progressive conservatism is the future of politics, and it's the future of community within our Western progressive, secularist, liberal and conservative societies. So we've got to end the bad faith in politics, because ultimately it's dishonesty is what creates chaos, not honesty. It's one of my it's going to be one of my classic lines where it's dishonesty that creates chaos, not honesty. So it's important that all political actors politically need to make sure that they're as honest as possible, because playing around with people's psychology with deception and deceit is extremely chaotic, and people's psychology is fragile. People are vulnerable, people have insecurities, and being dishonest and exploiting them will only lead to chaos and is what's causing this divide. So yet again, we need to end the bad faith in politics and actually come together to solve common problems. Like parenting problems, mental health problems, just in general problem solving in society. We need everybody, both progressives and conservatives, to get together. So yeah, that's the first part. That's the first part done. Remember, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to the Pioneer of True Centrism show. So, one of the things that we also need to do is, instead of just paying attention to a problem, whether it's immigration, mental health, free speech, instead of just paying, that's another one, community integration of different cultures and ethnicities. Instead of just paying attention to the problems, we actually need to focus on finding solutions to the problems. That is something that we are missing in some areas politically, is that we got a bunch of people paying attention to problems without having any intent on trying to solve those problems. So if you're going to pay attention to a problem, talk about the solutions. Stay away from talking points, stay away from buzzwords, stay away from trigger words. So, we need good faith in politics. We need everybody to be honest and working together. And we need to actually, think about how to actually solve problems, because that's how you tell where there's bad faith, where you have people paying attention to problems without trying to solve it. Because if you're not trying to solve the problem, you're just going to make the problem worse. So that's going to be part 2 done. So you can also hype the video down below if it's available, and if you can't do it for this channel, do it for other channels, and also like and subscribe. I'm trying to think, is there part 3? Just in case it ends here, I'm going to go for a brief pause.
It's been nearly impossible to get parking at Puka.
So you have people talking about, oh, we got to have debates, we got to have discussions, but we can't have proper debates until people are good faith when they go into the debates and actually care about actually solving the problems instead of paying attention to them without having any intent of solving them. So yeah, like having debates, saying like, oh, we just need to have have debates and discussions. That's not that on its own isn't good enough. We actually have to have both sides coming into debates with good faith, trying to actually solve problems and stuff, and actually working together and actually trying to help each other. Philosophically, when two philosophers go into a debate, they're not doing it as enemies, but allies to better each other's positions. And that seems to be missing in politics, and that's where we need to get to before we're actually be able to have these debates. And an element of politics where, you have some people online who just basically talk about one side or the other, but extremism on one side triggers extremism on the other side. So being bad faith on either side just makes the other side react more. So you have political actors, both on the left and the right, in academia, medicine, a lot of different areas where, one side, like there's different situations, it's like depending on the situation, it changes. One side would be extreme, and then they trigger extreme in the other side, and then that side becomes extreme, and they trigger extremism, like extremist behavior and reactions in the other side. So that's why being good faith is highly important. It's a good idea to stay away from doing the blame game. Sometimes you might, yes, if the blame is rightfully shared, fair enough, but that is something you need to stay away from, is blaming if you can. So anyway, these are the ways in which, right then, the reason why some people can't debate, like people like myself, is because I have mental health issues, OCPD, and it comes with communication problems and social skills, problems with communication and social skills. So we also need to improve people's mental health in order to help people's ability to have conversations and discussions and debates. And that's where being extreme and being bad faith is just going to trigger people and make people emotional. And if people are emotional and full of anxiety, they're not going to be good communicators, and they're not going to be able to have good debates and discussions. So anyway, it's the bad faith in politics that's creating the divide, and we need to end this bad faith in politics before we all end up at each other's throats and hurting each other, because in both America and the UK, it's getting pretty scary. And we need progressive conservatism. We need the progressives and the conservatives actually beginning to work together, and then by doing so in good faith, we will end the divide in politics. Thank you very much for watching the video. I appreciate you so much. Please stay tuned for more political content and philosophy and theory on the Pioneer of True Centrism show. And yes, centrism achieved. No buzzwords, no trigger words, the way it's meant to be. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you very, 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 very much. Remember to like everyone's videos, every person's comments. Like and subscribe to every person's channel. Thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next video.